his 8th year as the Carolina head coach, and he has a new guy to sign his checks. He is Ron Rivera back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
Doing great, Rich. How are things?
Where have I found you? You driving around the Charlotte area right now?
Yeah, I got to run a quick errand with the players, in stage 2.
Okay, so you're running is this part of the Rivera honeydew list that's going down right now?
No, actually it's not. She's actually out of town, so I don't have a big list.
Oh, so the bachelor party at the Rivera household. I like it. Let's go.
Perfect.
Sounds like
we got that home security systems. We've got the built-in cameras, so we got nothing like that.
All right. So, have you spoken to the supposed expected new owner of the Carolina Panthers yet?
No, I haven't spoken to Mr. Tepper. I did have an opportunity to meet him during the whole process, probably about 5-6 weeks ago.
Okay. And what do you think? Do you think there's going to be any changes? Anything other than just, I guess, status quo? What it was like? What's it like talking to somebody that might change a culture in a way?
Well, it was interesting. He's a very intuitive man. He's been involved to a degree with the Steelers. He has a sense and a feel for it. Asked tremendous questions. I basically did a presentation on the team, and he seemed to answer those. Ask those questions and listen to the answers. So, I believe the man has a feel for it, and I look forward to working with him.
What does a presentation for a prospective owner look like? What was that about?
Well, just basically breaking down the football team. What the philosophy is. What the direction is, what we have in terms of players. We talked a little bit about, where we were headed in free agency and the draft when we sat down and went through that.
Okay. And so, but he, being a minority owner of the Steelers, I mean, he knows who Cam Newton is, right? He knows pretty much.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. And all that good stuff. How much contact do you have with Cam at this time of year?
Oh, well, it's kind of cool because, now we're in phase 2, so we got the players here, and, they meet in the morning, and then they go out and do their workouts. We meet the offense meets first while the defense is out on the field, and then they flip-flop, and then the offense is out on the field, the defense is meeting. But, we get to interact with the players, for the most part every day, and it's cool. It really is. It's kind of good to see everybody, see the direction that I believe we can be headed, and feel really good about the draft we had, too.
How different will the offense look with Norv Turner now at the controls, Coach? What do you think?
That's the one thing I think that people got to understand is that, for the most part, this offense, when Rob Chudzinski was our original offensive coordinator, came from Norv's background because Chud had worked with Coach and for the most part was installing what Norv's basic philosophy of football. So it's kind of getting back to the original roots of who we are as a football team offensively.
Now, this question is asked with the ultimate respect for Norv's son, who is the quarterback's coach. I mean, and I'm not suggesting at all with this question. All right, I'm infusing this with this caveat, infusing this in all as saying that he didn't deserve the job. But what I'm asking is, as a head coach, when an offensive coordinator's son is the quarterback's coach, is there any concern? What if Cam and the quarterback's coaches starts grinding gears like quarterbacks coaches and quarterbacks do? I mean, is there any concern on that front?
No. Well, no, because Scott was with us to begin with. He's got a background with some of our players. He's got a background with Cam. He was part of the staff when we drafted Cam, so he's very familiar. And so it was almost one of those things that you're looking for a quarterback coach. You look for a guy that's got some familiarity with the offense, but also familiarity with your players, and that's what we got. We got a guy that has both. So we feel pretty fortunate to have him back. Scotty's done a great job already. His relationship with Cam seems to be very strong already. And no, I'm not worried about that when the wheels start to grind a little bit. In fact, I kind of expect it to happen at some point, just because guys are competitive by nature, and everybody wants to do well. Everybody wants to win.
Well, and getting Norv is as great a get as any coach can have for an offensive coordinator. How much arm twisting did you have to do to get Norv to take the gig, Coach?
Well, it was interesting because, I called Coach and we talked a little bit, and the biggest thing he said is I got to check with the wife to make sure she's on board.
Right,
and
yeah.
he called me later that afternoon, and it was great because I had worked for Norv. I'd coached for him for 4 seasons, and and quite honestly, it was one of the best times I had coaching. I mean, I really enjoyed my time with him, and things went really well. We were fortunate. We had 4 winning seasons while I was there, and I really appreciated his knowledge of the offensive side of the ball.
Ron Rivera, Panthers head coach, joining me here mid-May on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think about the new rule change, Coach, about using the crown of your helmet to initiate contact? Again, the owners are going to meet next week to put a little bit more meat on the bones here. I'm just, to be honest with you, a little genuinely concerned that a quarterback on a sneak or a pulling guard 10 yards down the field is going to nullify a play that doesn't deserve to be nullified in the sake of player safety, which is obviously what we're looking for here. Are you concerned about the adjudication of this rule when it does get implemented?
Not necessarily, because again, sitting in those meetings that we had at the combine and then at the owners' meetings and listening to the explanation, I think once it's all put together, it'll make a lot of sense to everybody. Certain situations, certain circumstances in games, those things you won't have to worry about. In other situations, other circumstances, you most certainly do have to worry about them. And again, those things will all be mapped out. Hopefully we'll get all those things worked out in this next owners meeting, and we'll get the directive. And again, I really do. I think, when people see it and understand it, which it will be forthcoming, I think everybody go, okay, I get what they're talking about. I see what they mean. And again, I really do think it is for the best as far as the league is concerned, and I think people will understand it and get it.
Can you give us a little bit of an insight on what we're unfamiliar with right now that will make this a little bit more understandable?
Well, I think the biggest thing everybody has to understand is it's really about whether or not a player spears another player. When he lowers the head and attacks a player, whether it's a blocker or it's a runner or it's a tackler, that's the yes, understand is what really the referees are looking for, is that, as opposed to guys that come in proper football position, in a good body alignment and make contact. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that comes out, but I really do believe once everybody sees it, everybody's going to go, okay, I get it.
Would you be up for having an instant replay safety net for this, making 15-yard penalties for this or any other 15-yard personal foul reviewable for you to throw a red challenge flag as a head coach in this league?
Well, that's one of the things I think that they're obviously going to discuss and decide upon. And, as we go through this, we will, there will be some things that most certainly do have to come into play, and we'll see how that goes. So
would you like it? I mean, as a head coach who has opportunities to challenge?
I would. As head coach, yes, I would. I just, if we're going to eject a player or something like that, I want to make sure that exactly what we think we saw.
Okay. And look, head coaches have enough headaches trying to figure things out in this league and wonder what players might be up to when they're off the clock. So I'm intrigued on your reaction to the Supreme Court's ruling that might put sports gambling front and center in states across the country, gambling on the wins and losses and the yards gained of a team like yours.
Yeah, I mean, that is most certainly going to be a concern, but hopefully they'll work something out and get things worked out the right way. It is something that that we'll obviously have to pay attention to, but hopefully it will be it'll be done the right way.
Okay, how's Kuechly doing, Coach? How is he?
He's doing great. He's having a good off season.
Okay,
and just excited for for everybody to get back going and look forward to when we get to start phase 3 of OTAs.
Phase 3. Okay, so walk me through it. Phase 1 is what? What's phase 1? The draft preparation?
It's really just conditioning
okay.
For the most part with meetings. Phase 2 is we start introducing offensive defensive plays on air, and then phase 3 we come together and we compete offense versus defense in kind of it's in a non-equipment practice. So the only thing they have on for safety is really just the helmets.
Okay, and phase 4 is training camp. Is that what that is? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not even part of phase. It's just training camp.
Okay, so I was about to say winning the Super Bowl. What phase is that? What phase is winning the Super Bowl?
That's the goal. That's the ultimate.
Okay. Coach, really appreciate the time. You take care. Drive safe around there, okay?
I got you, Rich. Appreciate you.
You got it. That's Ron Rivera, head coach of the Carolina Panthers.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.